Say it once, say it twice, third time's a charm. Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. Beetle...
I've seen The Exorcist about 167 times.
My name is Matt and I have 2 degrees. As we draw near the close of my Halloween spooky movie marathon, I have saved the best film for, well, technically second last. But today, we're talking about a movie that's not only one of my favorite Halloween films of all time, but one of my favorite movies of all time. Tim Burton's Beetlejuice. 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 I've seen Beetlejuice 167 times and it keeps getting funnier every single time I see it. I think this is one of the most hilarious, original, exciting movies of all time. Seriously, they do not make them like this anymore. In fact, I don't even think they made them like this before this. So, in conclusion, Beetlejuice is one of a kind. First of all, this has to be like one of the best ensemble casts ever assembled for a film. We have Michael Keaton, Gina Davis, Alec Baldwin, Winona Ryder, Canadian treasure, Catherine O'Hara. Hello. They are all perfect and I love them. And the production design in this movie is absolutely gorgeous and so brilliant because it fully justifies the wacky Burtonisms. Like, it's one thing to have a movie like Sleepy Hollow or Edward Scissorhands where everything is taking place in this cartoony, gothic, wacky world. But in Beetlejuice, everything starts off completely normal, but the Tim Burton aesthetic just creeps up on you as we get to see the world of the dead, and as Delia comes in and redecorates the Maitland's house and turns it into like her mini MoMA. And the score, it's classic Danny Elfman goodness, and I can think of few moments more exciting than the opening sequence when they're still rolling the title credits, and then you just hear like the doobadoo 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 doo 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 doo, and then you just know solely based on the music that this movie has you in for the ride of your life. But then again, an equally exciting moment is when we finally see Michael Keaton in like the classic Beetlejuice striped suit, and then she's like, can you help me? He looks up and he's like, sure, I can help.
Sure, I can help.
Okay, I'm getting off track. I love this movie so much, and I could just take you through all of my favorite moments, but then I would just be recreating the entire film for you start to finish, and nobody wants to see that. But also, if you do want to see that, let me know in the comment section down below and I will absolutely make that video for you. But today we're going to talk about one of the specific reasons I really love this movie, and it's the fact that there is so much subtext and detail layered into this film. Now, like I said, I've seen Beetlejuice 167 times, and it keeps getting funnier every single time I see it. Every single time I watch the movie, I start picking up on new little details and subtleties and nuances layered into the film that are just additional story details that make the movie that much better. And today I am going to share 5 of them with you. Now, just to clarify, these are not fan theories, but there are a ton of incredible Beetlejuice fan theories just floating out there on the internet. No. These things are things that I'm like 99.9% sure were 100% intentional, math, on the parts of the filmmakers. But they're things that they don't draw attention to. They just drop these little Easter eggs into the movie and leave it up to you, as the audience member, to pick up on them. Or even better, to not pick up on them, but then just have them subtly supporting the story to make the movie that much better. And who knows, let me know in the comment section down below, maybe all 5 of these things are things that you picked up on watching the movie once, but I don't pay attention to most things, so they were mostly new to me. Here we go. Number 5, Maitland hardware. Now, this is one that I'm kind of ashamed took me so long to figure out, but that store that Adam and Barbara go to at the very beginning of the film before they die is their own personal independent business, and it's so obvious because there's a giant sign that says Maitland Hardware plastered on the building. But I cannot tell you, I watched this movie probably for like 5 to 10 years, and that scene always confused me. I was like, why is this guy breaking into this store and taking stuff? Like, does he have a tab? But then all I had to do was use my eyes and read, and he owns the store, so now I know, and now it makes sense. Number 4, the fact that Delia upcycles Charles's ugly red sweater and turns them into an even uglier pair of red pants. perfect. Number 3, Beetlejuice committed suicide. Yeah, now, in the words of Phoebe Buffay, this is brand new information, but like it actually is brand new information, at least for me. Earlier today when I was researching for this video, I thought it'd be fun to just pull up Google and see if I could find any kind of canon information about who Beetlejuice was when he was alive, and I couldn't really find anything, but I did find numerous articles pointing out that it's very likely he took his own life. How do we know this? Because think of that one line that Otho has when he says,
"You know what they say about people who commit suicide? In the afterlife, they become civil servants."
But he says that line like 3/4 of the way through the movie when we've already met all the government officials from the afterlife. And then when you rewatch the movie, you start to realize that Otho was right. Seemingly every person who works for the, netherworld government took their own lives. The most obvious one is probably Miss Argentina with her whole, "If I knew then, what I knew now, I wouldn't have had my little accident." But then we've also got Juno, we've got the guy who was run over by the trucks, and when you consider that Juno says that Beetlejuice used to be her assistant, that means he used to be a civil servant, which means he probably took his own life. And when you keep that in mind, it almost explains why he has so much disdain for the living, because something traumatic enough happened to him while he was alive to make him want to leave the world of the living. It almost makes me want to see some kind of prequel or origin story film about who he was when he was human. No, but actually at the same time, I don't want that. I don't want that at all. Because it's so much more effective, what this movie does. Just dropping these little clues and leaving it up to us to fill in the blanks. Number 2, the fact that in the very last scene when Lydia comes home from school and Adam says, "Did you get the paints?" and she says, "Yes, and I also got you these pictures of the new town hall." It's because he's still working on keeping an up-to-date version of his model of the town. That's cool. And number 1, all of the narrative subtext. Admittedly, this kind of ties into the whole Beetlejuice probably killed himself thing, but specifically I want to look at Lydia and the Maitlands, and I'm a little ashamed that it took me the Beetlejuice musical to spell it out for me with a song literally called Dead Mom.
Dead Mom!
But the whole movie is about Lydia coping with the death of her mother. And I don't know why I wasn't able to connect those dots by myself. Well, actually, no, I kind of do know. It's because the movie literally never mentions Lydia's birth mom. They barely even mention that Delia is the stepmom. I think Lydia only mentions it once, and for the rest of the movie, Charles just outright says, "She is your mother." And the movie does something very similar with Adam and Barbara. The first 20 minutes of the film are filled with so many subtle references to the fact that this is a couple that wants a child so badly, but they're not able to have one for whatever reason. But the movie never draws attention to it as like a key plot point. It just is. Like, it's just a circumstance of their life. Just like how Lydia's grief with the loss of her mother, like, that's not what the movie is explicitly about, but it just is. And that's what makes the bond between Lydia and the Maitlands that much more effective, because we have a couple that have wanted a child their whole adult lives connecting with a kid who wants parents. And because the movie doesn't hit us over the head with it, it just lets that subtext and that subplot exist quietly in the background, while in the foreground we get this crazy, wacky film about a perverted poltergeist. There's something so special about a film that plays by its own rules and knows what they are, but doesn't communicate that to you. So that as an audience member, you only understand maybe a fraction of what's actually going on, but you can recognize that there is a fully developed story unraveling before your eyes. And it makes it that much more satisfying when you can go back and pick up on new things with each subsequent watch. And plus there's sandworms from Saturn and a banana boat sing-along. You know what? They just really don't make movies like this anymore. But for now, friends, that concludes this episode of Teacup For One. Now let me know in the comment section down below, what is your favorite subtle detail in Beetlejuice? Or is there a moment in one of your favorite movies that it took you multiple viewings to pick up on? And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I don't know what you're waiting for, but you got another chance right now, because it's super easy. All you have to do is click on my face. Thank you for joining me today, everyone. My name is Matt, and I have 2 degrees, and that's the Teacup For One. Home, home, home!